So today we're talking about raising money, which is what we probably always need to be talking about, particularly through peer-to-peer and digital-first fundraising. So excited to get into that topic today. I'm Yvonne Sims. I'm the Educational Programming Manager, and I'm based in Atlanta, where it is not raining currently, but it likes to every once in a while, like daily. If you don't know Candid already, Candid is the coming together of Foundation Center and GuideStar. Those two nonprofits have over 90 years in the nonprofit sector. So every year, millions of nonprofits spend trillions of dollars around the world. Candid finds out where that money comes from, where it goes, and why it matters. So through research, collaboration, training, Candid connects people who want to change the world with the resources they need to do it. And we do that through our partnerships at different community sites where you can access our tools, and we do it through training like the one we had yesterday. We have a lot of introductory trainings. And then the one we're having today is a special topic webinar. It's what we call them, where we talk about different topics and have someone come in and teach you. So something I just mentioned, we realize with our special topic webinars in particular that we have a very live audience, a lot of communicating, a lot of chatting, a lot of, hey, I do this, you do that, a lot of answering questions, which we love. And it can be a lot in the chat, but what we realize is that people want to connect essentially. So we created a directory, totally optional if you'd like to, try it and see if connecting with folks that are looking for the same kinds of education you're looking for would be helpful. So I have the QR code on the screen. Also, we have a link and we can throw that in the chat, and I'll bring this up again later on. But if you're interested in just connecting with other nonprofit professionals, no pressure, none of that, but just knowing, hey, these people are out there and they're doing this across the country, probably even the world, because we have people who are international. Just, join if you'd like. All right. So our speaker today, really excited about our speaker. Now, what's really funny about this is I tend to read bios, but I am not going to read a bio today because Floyd is going to tell us so much about himself that I'm kind of excited to hear from him. But our speaker today is the founder and CEO of BackBlack, and I'm going to stop sharing so he can kind of come on. But one of the things I'm excited about is not only is he teaching us about fundraising, but he's going to teach us about BackBlack, which is really important because it may be something that you all can use as well. So I'm just gonna let him take over. Floyd Jones.
Thank you, Yvonne. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here. So excited to be in the house with each and every one of you today. And I want to see who we got here. We got Karen calling in from Philadelphia. We got Mark coming in from Brooklyn in the house. Okay, I am in Manhattan. I am all the way uptown, but maybe we can hang out. Carol's in the house, Naomi's in the house, Andrew's in the house, Sarah's in the house. Who else we got here? Nanette is in the house. Hello, hello. Oh, come on, somebody. We got some like give it a fam in the house. Crystal's in the house. Lorraine's in the house. I love to see it, y'all. Okay, Yvonne, can I share my screen? I'm ready to go.
You can absolutely share your screen and give me some of your energy while you're at it.
It's so funny. I just love this topic because, y'all, we are talking all things community today. We're talking about how to raise more from your community through peer to peer and digital fundraising, or what I like to say, community as a catalyst. I believe your people are your power. Your people are your power. I always say relationships first and then the revenue will come, right? People first and then the profits will come, right? Community first and then the currency will come. Come on, somebody, okay? And we are talking about how to anchor in on your community. I don't know about you, but I need community right now more than ever, okay? We are living in a time that is more divisive than ever. We are living in a time right now that is trying to separate people more than ever, right? And now it's our job, it's your job, it's my job to build that community, okay? A lot of you might think, oh, I'm just a program officer, I'm just a fundraiser, I'm just a grant writer. You are more than that. You are a bridge, okay? You are a bridge between where your people are and the change that they want to see in the world, okay? You're a bridge between where your people are and the impact that they want to have in this world, right? You're a bridge between where your people are and the change they want to see in their communities, okay? You are bridge. And today, if you are on this call, get your hard hat ready, okay? Get your gloves ready. Get whatever you gotta get ready, okay? Because we're about to build this bridge. If you are ready, I want to see ready in the chat. Ready in the chat. Who is ready? Kristen's ready. Who else is ready? I want to see ready in the chat. Melvin's ready. Ted is ready. Tina's ready. Piper's ready. Okay. Chris is
They
ready.
ready.
Jeff is ready. I love to see it. All right, people. All right, we're going to jump on in. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Okay. So, my name is Floyd Jones, as Yvonne mentioned. Thank you for the intro. I am based out of New York City. Okay, New York. All right. I live in Washington Heights currently. I'm a speaker, coach, and community builder, and I am also the founder of Back Black, where we help fund and fuel Black changemakers all around the world. And y'all, my background, I am not new to this. I am true to this. I have been a fundraiser for over a decade, and I love working with grassroots organizations. If you want to stay connected with me, I got a little QR code here, but there are going to be other opportunities throughout the time to connect with me as well. We are going to talk about how you connect with your people, your passion, your purpose, and that all that is going to lead to your power for your people. Okay, icebreaker before we dive into anything else. What did you want to be when you were growing up? Yvonne, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Well, I'm a singer also. We didn't talk about that. So definitely
Stop,
some
Yvonne.
kind
You
of
didn't
singing.
see. We could
Yes.
have been doing a duet. Okay.
Exactly. We got to meet later. But also a teacher, and I think that's partly because that's someone you see all the time. So I kind of knew what that
Mm.
was. So I see
And oh wow,
teacher,
you did
architect.
that. Come on, somebody. You're here now,
Oh,
teaching us and leading us, okay? I'm
right.
seeing a dentist. Oh my God, we need more of you, okay?
I see
Superwoman.
harpist,
I love it. Musical actress. I love it.
equestrian.
Oceanographer. I love that. Okay. Well, y'all, for me, y'all probably not gonna guess this, okay? For me, it was a soccer player, right? Believe it or not, it was a soccer player. Why? My family is from Sierra Leone, West Africa. My parents, my brothers are all from Sierra Leone. I was born here, but growing up, we kept soccer was like a staple. Okay, we was always watching soccer. We were playing soccer. We would play soccer outside. So I was like, okay, this is my calling. Like I'm ready to go. All right. And my mom, this is little Floyd, by the way. This is my brother Wayne. Say hello to little Floyd, okay? My mom had the bright idea. She was like, we're going to sign you up for soccer. Like, let's get this thing started. So let me tell you, and my brother was in soccer, so I was following in his footsteps, okay? I had the headband on, I had the cleats, I had the shin guards. You couldn't tell me that I was dressed for the part, okay? I was dressed for the part. So let me tell you, I remember our first ever game. I had been practicing. I was excited. My brother was passing the ball to me in the backyard. I was ready to go. Okay, you couldn't tell me nothing. And I remember the coach finally said, "Okay, Floyd, it's your turn. Get into the game." And I was like, "I am ready for this." Okay, I was with the people, waiting for them to pass me the ball. Y'all, the ball finally came. I got that ball. And I remember I was so excited. I remember dribbling for my life. And I had asthma at the time. So I would dribble and I would take a quick inhaler break. Okay. I would dribble again and one more quick inhaler break. And then I said, this is my moment. Okay. Headband and all, running as fast as I possibly could. My head was probably a little bit bigger than the rest of my body. But let me tell you, I still fought for it. Okay. I got to that goal. I wound up as big as I could. I kicked that ball and y'all, I scored. I scored that ball, okay? And so when I turned around, I thought that this was gonna be the whole team. I was ready. I was excited for the people. I said, they're gonna say, Floyd is number one. We're ready to go. Y'all, why was this them? Why was this that? Apparently, I had scored in the wrong goal. I got scored in the wrong goal. And so when I tell you, kids are throwing juice boxes, okay? There was fruit by the foot in the sky. Parents was putting their heads down. When I told you I marched up that field, I said, Mother, I don't, maybe we're gonna have to try something else. Maybe this is not my calling after all right? So it's a wonder how my first ever job was fundraising for a sports-based organization. Okay. I remember I went to this organization called the Volo Kids Foundation, and our mission was to provide free sports for kids all across the country. Okay. I grew up in Maryland, and this organization was based in Baltimore City. And I was the first ever development director for the organization. Okay. I was the first ever full-time staff member for the organization. My entire salary was covered by the chairman of the organization because we didn't have no development operation. We didn't have no donors. We didn't have no donor list. We had a soccer ball and a dream. Okay, we said we're gonna figure it out, right? And I said, all right, y'all, I know what we need to do. We need to raise $5,000 for our upcoming campaign. Why did I say $5,000? Because $5,000 was the cost that we needed to provide to do a whole 8-week program for the youth, right? It covered the cost of the fields, it covered the cost of the jerseys, it covered the cost of the snacks. Okay. Tell me why I was planning this and I was a little triggered at the same time. I was like, it's okay. Like, hopefully they gonna score the right goal, but it's fine. All right. And y'all, Giving Tuesday was coming up, and I was like, we need to do a Giving Tuesday campaign. And the board members were on board, and everyone was like, yeah, we're so excited. And then at the time, they were like, what's a Giving Tuesday? Remember, none of them knew what the nonprofit realm was like. They just knew we wanted to do this thing, right? And I said, we're going to have to figure this out, okay? So on Giving Tuesday, I told all of our volunteers, all of our parents, if you even knew how to say the word sport, I said, I need you to do me a favor. On Giving Tuesday, I want you to change your profile picture to a picture of you as a child playing a sport. Exhibit A. Okay, soccer didn't work, but we went on to baseball. Okay, and do you see the smile here? I still got it. You see the little smile on my cheek. Okay, say hello to little Floyd. But I said, listen, thank you, Chris Kirsten. You understand? Thank you. Okay, so I said on Giving Tuesday, change your profile picture of a picture of you as a child playing the sport. And I want you to share this link to our campaign page, okay? Because on the campaign page, Bruce said he has a sound problem. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me, Yvonne? You
I
got
can
me
hear you
okay?
well. Yeah.
Okay, good,
Thank
good,
you.
good. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I told everybody, listen, this is all you need to do and share the link to the campaign. All right. And I said, listen, that's all I need you to do on the Giving Tuesday, on the actual day of the campaign. And I was blown away because on Giving Tuesday, y'all, not only did people actually change their profile picture and say, hey, this is what sports meant to me, right? When I was a child, but I started seeing people comment and people saying, wow, I remember when I was a child playing a sport, or my child is currently playing basketball, or I'm a volunteer and I teach kids how to play soccer. Like we started seeing this cascade effect, and I was like, what? This is amazing, right? And on Giving Tuesday, not only did we didn't raise about $5,000, y'all, we end up raising over $30,000 in that one day. In that one day. I was blown away. Okay, I was blown away. And the thing that made me excited even more is that the volunteers came to us, right? Everybody, I created a little tagline called So Every Child Can Play. That became like our unofficial tagline of the organization because, again, our mission was to provide free sports for every child. So volunteers came to us and they said, we had so much fun last year. When are we doing So Every Child Can Play again? And I was like, huh? Like, y'all want to do this? Because we created an impact on social media. People had teams, they were getting excited, they were getting involved. Then next year, they came back to me and they ended up raising over $60,000 from that campaign. And then they came back the following year and they ended up raising over $90,000 from that campaign. And they came back the year after that and they raised over $110,000 from that campaign. Yo, I am no longer at the Volo Kids Foundation, but they are still doing this initiative. Guess how much they raised for their last campaign? Over $210,000. And they are still doing this blueprint. They are still doing this format. And I don't know about y'all and these tariffs, okay? But raising these funds at this time is incredible. It's incredible. What did that tell me? It told me that fundraising and community building is about belonging. And I'm gonna go off on a little tangent right now. So many of us think it's about the number. So many of us think it's about the goal. So many of us think it's about, oh, once we get to that XYZ point, then we made it, right? It's not about that. It's about building for belonging because belonging leads your people to become believers of your organization. You don't need just another donation. I always say if a donation is all that you want, then a donation is all that you're going to get. But guess what's the first thing to go when times get tough? That donation. You don't need just another donation. You need a believer of your organization because believers of your organization are going to take you to your breakthrough. Are you tracking with me? I love this quote from Brene Brown. We call her Sister Brene in this house, okay? We said belonging is being somewhere where you want to be and they want you. Fitting in is being somewhere you want to be, but they don't care one way or another. Belonging is being accepted for you. Fitting in is being accepted for being like everyone else. Why did I bring that up? Because I want y'all to know and ask yourself, do my people feel like we actually want them? Or do we just want something from them? Do my donors feel like we actually want them to be a part of our community? Or do we just feel like we want something from them? Do our volunteers feel like we actually want them? Or do we just want something from them? Right? That is the core thesis and the core basis of everything we're going to talk about today. If you leave without understanding anything else, it's about asking yourself, how am I building for belonging? How am I building a community that will carry on for the long haul? Okay. Oh, hold on. That's Brene Brown, not where I'm going here. Hold on now. Let me get the screen back. All right, let's keep
Ooh,
going.
you were trying to
All
give us a
right.
little sample there,
I
Brene.
know,
Okay,
right? What's what I said I cite my sources. Come on, somebody. Okay.
I gotcha. Thank you.
All right. So I created something called the five S's of success. Okay. Setting an intention, setting a goal, sharing your story, segmentation, and mobilizing your supporters. So we're going to start with setting an intention. And everything starts here. Everything starts here. I have helped raise over $20 million throughout my career. And I have seen this time and time and time again. So many people come to me and they say, Floyd, I want to raise $1 million. And I'm like, so do I. So do I. But what is that $1 million going to do? What is it going to mean? What is a transformation on the other side of that $1 million? Right? You have to confirm the why behind your campaign before you do anything else. I always say the why will determine your what, right? The why will determine your what. So for me, I still remember when I decided and signed on to working for Bolo Kids. I remember all the times when I didn't fit in into the traditional sports settings. I remember the times when I scored in the wrong goal, right? I remember the times when I said, "Okay, you're not going to make it on this team," right? I remember all those times, and I kept asking myself. I said, saying to myself, we need to live in a world, and a world needs to exist where every single person and every single child can have access to this amazing experience, no matter what their ability is, right? We all don't want to be AAU. Somebody said they want to be going to the Olympics. We all don't want to go to the Olympics, okay? But we want a community and we should have access to a community. And that's what gave me the impetus to get started. I had an intention. I said, we're going to make this thing happen no matter what. And y'all, by the time I left Bolo Kids, we were in Baltimore City and I helped them scale to 6 cities across the country. 6 cities across the country. And each city was fully funded. That organization, when I got started, they were under $100,000. They are now a $1.5 million organization because it starts with intention. Some of y'all think that you're just planting seeds, okay? But each seed you plant, it's gonna germinate into something else. It's okay if you're not seeing the big results right now. Start small. Start planting those seeds now, right? But you have to understand, what do you envision this seed is going to turn into one day? Right? I don't know. Some of y'all are at all different levels of your organization. Some of y'all have a grassroots organization. I got an email the other day from somebody said, Floyd, I don't know what to do. We have less than $1,000 left. Right? We don't know what to do. But guess what? Things turned around because they had an intention. And so I don't know where you're on this call. I don't know what stage you're at in your organization, but set your intention. And I always say, take a step towards that intention and watch how the universe will take a step with you. Okay? What's your why? And also, an intention is not a goal. A goal serves your intention and not the other way around, right? People set arbitrary fundraising goals all of the time and they don't stick and they don't land because there's no strategy, but there's no place for that and for that idea to go, right? So make sure you're very clear on what it is that you're doing and why, okay? Once you have your intention, then you set your goal. And I always tell people, make sure you ask yourself this question: what do you need and why do you need it? How much will it cost to get what you need? That's another thing. You don't know how many campaigns that I see that people are like, oh, I got to raise $5,000, right? But knowing good and well that thing that they need is $50,000. Why am I saying this? Most people don't give at their capacity. Most donors are not giving at their capacity, right? You have to create, I always say you have to create space for transformation to take place. You have to create space for transformation to take place. What does that mean? You have to actually say, this project is going to cost us $50,000. It's okay if you're only raising $5,000 now, but let it be known what you actually need. What did I say at the beginning of this call? You are a bridge. What if somebody wants to make a $10,000 check to you? I'll never forget the day when I got a random check for $10,000 in the mail. I said, huh? Where, what? But I had communicated what our long term goal was. And this person said, oh, I remember that conversation that we had at dinner, Floyd. My family is on the board of a family foundation, and every single year we can all choose organizations to give end of year checks to. And guess what? I was that recipient. Make your need known. Make your need known. But your need can never be known if you don't know what you need. That's a metaphor for life, too. Okay. What do you need? Okay. And then also, who do you need to be in order to accomplish this goal? Who do you need to be in order to accomplish this goal? And then you stay focused and you stay set on getting there. You stay focused and you stay set on getting there. So I created something called the 5 C's of goal setting. If you know me by now, you know I love alliteration. Okay, so we're gonna break it down. All right. First, it's clear. Again, how much do you need to raise and what do you need to raise the money for? Being very, very clear on this. This is so crucial, especially right now. Next, it's compelling. Why do you need to raise this money? Why should supporters care? We're going to talk a little bit about storytelling towards the end. But I just was looking at our stats. Every single email that Black sends and my own personal brand, I have over 50 to 60% open rates on every single email that I send. The last month, BackBlack's Instagram had over 10,000 views in the last, I'm not even the last month, the last 3 weeks, because we were focusing on storytelling. We were focusing on compelling content, right? Why should people care? Right now, I don't know about you, but every time I turn my phone or the news, I want to throw it because it's stressing me out. There are so many things fighting for our attention. How are you breaking through the noise? How are you breaking through the mold? You have an amazing opportunity. I do a whole training on social media. We ain't gonna get into it today, but you have an amazing and unique opportunity right now that other people do not have. People want to feel something. People want to feel something. That's why emotionally driven content is shared twice as much as other content. You can do that through your storytelling. So make a goal, make a campaign that is compelling. Tap into the stories that are right here. Talk to the people who you are serving. Someone had a question about donor fatigue. Your donors aren't going to get fatigued if you keep giving them a reason to keep coming back and you anchor that in stories. Concise. When do you need these funds back? You need to have a specific end date for your campaign as well. When do you need to have these funds by? When? We say you're going to get the most momentum at the beginning of your campaign and the end of your campaign. I have been doing this a lot of times, y'all. You're going to see them, but you need to have an end date. I see campaigns that are going on forever and ever. Amen. Nobody donating to that. We say, well, they got something. I don't. Huh? People need something to work towards. Why? Because it's about belonging. What did I say at the beginning? It's about belonging. People want to feel that they're going towards something together. Context. How does it impact your organization at large? If you hit this goal, what is it going to mean for eradicating hunger? If I hit this goal, what is it going to mean for serving the youth in your community? How is it going to get us closer to this bigger picture thing that we're all working towards together? How's it happening? Someone said yesterday, I feel you, Jack. I feel you. In community, who are you serving? Who will be your champions for your cause? That's the biggest thing I always say. It's the last thing I want you to remember, too. Who is going with you? Who is going with you? If you're going by yourself, and let me tell you something. This isn't in my notes, but I gotta say it. How many people talk about burnout in our industry, in our sector? The average fundraiser is only lasting 10 months. But my other question to this is how many of us, we keep talking about burnout, but how many of us are lighting up our own candles? How many of us have the fire? We lighten the match. Why? Because we're not asking for help. We're not asking asking for help. We're not asking people to come to us. If you go to BackBlack's website right now, and let me tell y'all something, I practice what I preach, okay? I don't tell you something that I don't do. On our website, there are two things. You either get funding if you're an organization or you get involved. Get funding or get involved. And when you go on the get involved page, I list out clearly what we need people to do. I don't make any funding decision. Even though we give out funding, I have a whole advisory council who volunteered and they said, we're going to read these applications because we want to be a part of it. Community, who is going with you? Y'all, if you're the only one doing it by yourself, is that a community or is it about a me? Is it a movement if no one is going with you? Okay, let me keep going because I got things to get through. Okay, this is the big one. Get your notes out, y'all. If you have pen and paper, if you got a notepad, if you got an iPad, this is your moment. Okay, what did Eminem say? This is the part where the rap breaks down. We have to teach now. Okay, we went from inspiration, now we're gonna teach. Segment your audience, y'all. There is something called donor segmentation and moves management. Right? There's a whole theory around moves management. And so much of traditional moves management, in my opinion, is dead and outdated. Why do I say that? Because look at these models. First model, first gift, second gift. It's all about keep getting them to give. Look at this pyramid, right? Who's at the top of the pyramid? Major donors. Even how we say major, major. What's major? What? Prospects. Y'all, can I tell you something? I would actually argue that this needs to be turned upside down because every prospect, what if I said every prospect represents a promise? If the donation is all that you want, then the donation is all that you're going to get. How many times am I gotta tell you that? I have had so many people open up doors to more funding opportunities, to more business opportunities, to more partnerships. They haven't given me a dime, but I am not seeing them for what they can give me. I'm seeing them for how they want to contribute to this movement. Are you seeing your people like that? This model is no longer effective. What I would argue is it's not about getting people to give a higher donation, it's about getting them to become a higher version of themselves through your organization. So I created something called the 4 C's. Again, I love alliteration, so come on and track me. First is catalyst, then it's communicate, then it's convert, and then it's catapult. Y'all take screenshots. Don't tell me I didn't warn you because we got to keep going. Right? And also, I only got an hour, okay? Catalyst, communicate, convert, catapult. Let's break it down. Catalyst. How are you sharing the spark? How are you going to capture attention for your people? Remember, we are living in an attention economy, and attention is expensive. Why do you think they say pay attention? And the way inflation is set up right now, it's hard to come by. How are you going to capture people's attention? Is it through an event, right? Is it through an experience? Maybe it's through a storytelling piece of content. Maybe it's through digital ad, right? It's up to you. You and your people, you and your crew, they all understand what is most important. But you have to ask yourself, what is the catalyst? What is the spark? What's going to get the people's attention right away and draw them in? What's going to draw them in? Okay. Once you have the catalyst, right, and you share the spark, then you need to share the story. And I'm gonna go back to this real
Floyd,
quick.
Floyd, I'm just going to interrupt just for a sec, just to ask because people are asking where was that campaign shared? So when you were talking about your Volo campaign, was that Facebook? Was it TikTok? Was it wherever they were?
The first campaign was on Facebook, but now it's multimedia. It's all on. It's a social media platform. It was a social media campaign.
Okay,
But
so
y'all,
wherever people are.
we all talked about this too. This is all up to you, right? Catalyst. How are you going to share the spark? Maybe you're sharing the spark at an event. So many people are like, "Oh, I hate events. Events are dead." No, no, no. You don't have to share the spark on social media like I did. That's where I met my people, right? You can share the spark at an event, right? You can have an experience. You can do a specific campaign. And dare I say, you can share the spark through a letter writing campaign. Y'all remember those? People still send out that snail mail. Come on, somebody. Hello, stamps. It's up to you. You know your people. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you you got to do what I do, but you know your people. So how? That's why I asked, how will you capture their attention? right? After you share the spark, then you share the story. It's all about bringing people in. Stephanie said, I love stamps. Come on, somebody. My good sis Lori, hello, is on the call. I love that. Okay, so family reunion here. Okay, after you share the spark, how are you going to share the story? How are you going to keep attention and go deeper? How are you going to go deeper with your people, right? Why do I say that? Because so many people, and this, I feel so strongly about this, your organization has to be more than a goosebump. It has to be more than, oh my God, that's powerful. On to the next thing. So are you creating content that's going to convert, right? I tell everybody, go to my social media, go to BackBlack social media. When you see a post, every single post has a CTA, a call to action. Go to our link in bio. We're immediately capturing email addresses. We're immediately asking you to get involved. We're immediately asking you to do something. Why? Because we want to communicate, we want to share the story. A spark, what happens? A spark goes out. A spark can go out. But when I start sharing the story, your story is going to help your people soar, right? Nurture your audience. And this can be through email, social, digital, or other forms of engagement like volunteer days, right? But how are you going to share the story? Then you share the spark, you share the story, then you share the opportunity. And this is the fun part, in my opinion. Why do I call it the fun part? Because there are so many different opportunities for your people to get involved, right? Maybe level one is share a social media post, right? You're asking people to just share. You're asking them to like, right? Maybe level two is okay, become a volunteer for our program or be a peer to peer fundraiser. Maybe level three is be an event host, right? Or join our recurring giving donor program. And then level four is join our board or become an ambassador. So many people, oh Lord, you don't know how many people ask me, Floyd, can you join our board? I said, I just met you yesterday. Like, if you met somebody, you probably wouldn't ask them to marry them tomorrow. I mean, we all love Nicholas Sparks, come on, somebody, right? But you need to develop what? A relationship. You have to develop a relationship before you go to the next level. And you know what? For the people who do just ask me to marry them the next day, I would be like, what else is here? What else is going on behind the scenes? Or the people who ask me to join their board tomorrow, I'm like, but do you actually know who I am? Right? Do you just want something from me, or do you actually want me? What did we talk about at the beginning of this? Right? And so many of our people get burnt out. Some of our donors get burnt out because there is no pathway for them to grow. What did I say here? You don't want them to just give a higher donation. You want them to become a higher version of themselves. And it's your job to do that. Why is it your job to do that? Because you are a bridge. Y'all, I'm gonna keep on coming up with these concepts. I need y'all to remember. You're a bridge. So someone took the first step on that bridge. They liked your post. They shared your post, right? But they're not on the other side with the one step. They have to keep on stepping. And let me tell you something. Let them keep on stepping until your mission is complete. And it's your job to get them there. So the last step is share the baton. You share the spark, you share the story, you share the opportunity, and then you share the baton. Okay? Share the baton. Give them an opportunity for them to take the lead. Give an opportunity for them to take control, for them to be your ambassador, right? What does this look like? It looks like them starting a giving program at their company. It looks like them becoming the chair of your advisory board. It looks like them opening up our opportunities and getting you PR opportunities, right? Share the baton. Now it's not about me, it's about we. And that's your goal, getting them to that place. And then the bonus one is CRM because you got to store this somewhere. Okay, y'all, no more. Thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca says we use Monday.com for project management. I love that. Right? You just store all of this somewhere. I see too many people say, I got this sticky note here, and this is in my head, and my second cousin twice removed, she texted me, and then I got about 85 notes in my phone. How do you scale that? How do you scale that? And I would argue that even though you mean well, that is still making the organization about you and not about where you're going. Y'all still with me? Y'all probably like, okay, he coming for me, sucking to my face. Okay, y'all still with me? I hope so. Okay. Hold me posted. Okay. So Next step of this, right? The next step of this is once you know the path for your people to go, right? Once you know where you want your people to go, the four C's, now you have to segment them. Why do I say that? Let me go back a little bit. This is the pathway. This is where you want all your people to you want as many people to get to level four as possible, right? But now you need to know where your people are at each level. Why do I say this? So many campaigns are failing and falling short because you're sending a one-time fits all message. I call it the spray and pray method. You just say, please help, somebody help, anybody help. What? You all heard about all the cookies and the brownies and the milkshakes that are all on the websites and whatnot, when they say please reject all those different things. Why do they ask you that? Why is Amazon asking you that? I remember you know what I'm talking about. You had a conversation with your friend about saying I want to go to Bahamas, and then the next time you open up your social media, it's book your flight to the Bahamas. Do you think that that's random? Do you think that that's random? Do you think it's random when you're getting requests and all these different things for specific things that you talked about or clicked on before? It's not. Not in 2025. If they can apply that same understanding and that methodology at a mass level, why can't you do it at a micro level? So many people send one email to everybody and then you wonder why your people aren't responding because this message isn't meant for me. How many times organizations I've been giving to for years are still saying, hey, friend, I'm like, you know my name by now. Surely you know my name by now, right? So you have to be able to segment your people. This is another section where I need you to get your notes out, okay? Because I'm about to go deep. What's a CTA? Deb said it means call to action. Thank you, Jennifer. All right. So here are the actual things that I segment my audience on. But when I'm working with organization, I said this is how you're going to segment your audience on. Okay. One, recency. How long have donors been giving to your organization? Right? Are they legacy donors? Have they been giving for multiple years? Frequency. How often do donors give? Are they giving monthly? Are they giving quarterly, annual, one time? Right? And whatever CRM you look like, I truly whatever, right? But make sure you can filter on all of these different things. So, how long have donors been giving? How often do donors give? Right? Method. How are donors giving? Are they giving through a social media fund? I think I saw somebody said that in there. Are they giving via social media requests? If you're not using things like Linktree or your link in bio, where you can actually track your clicks, if you're not going into your email database, whomever you're using, and actually tracking every single week, my operation manager, I asked them to give me a report. I want to see what content is leading to new followers. I want to see what content are we sharing that's actually leading to new donors and donations, right? I need to actually be able to see those things in my own eyes because without that, I always said your data is going to lead you to the destination that you want to go. Your data is going to lead you in the destination in which you want to go. Other than that, we're just going with the eyes closed, right? So, method, how are donors giving? Social media, are they giving via an email request? Are they giving via text, digital campaign, in person? Chat. I remember my new apartment building, they said we only take check, and I said, I can't live here. I can't live here. No, I'm just kidding, you. But people are still giving through chat. So you have to be able to track where the transformation is taking place, right? Amount. How much are donors giving, right? Low, medium, high. And I use those words sparingly. You decide because $10 to you might be nothing, but $10 to me might be everything. So how much are donors giving? And you need to be able to segment that. And y'all, I'm thinking about creating something for ChatGPT, and I'm gonna share it with y'all if you join my list or whatever. But I actually use ChatGPT prompts to help me with this. When I'm working with an organization, I will download all their donors and I say, Chat, can you please categorize these donors into three different levels? And I'll upload the information. Redacted names come on somebody because we need privacy, period. But it's all about the levels, right? And then they will actually say, hey, you have 50 donors at this level. You have 60 donors at this level. You have 80 donors at this level, right? And then you can build a strategy based off of what you see. So ask how much amount, reason, why do donors give? Are they giving via fundraiser prompt, media prompt, special event? What is the actual impetus? What are the things that's actually getting them to click? Right? Interest. What topics are donors most interested in? Is it a specific program, campaign? Is there a specific fund that people are looking for? Right? Is there a specific fund that they want to get involved in? You got to ask yourself these. You got to track these things. And then the last thing is type. What type of donor is it? Is it a fundraiser, corporate sponsor, recurring donor? I am saying all these different things because it's not one size fits all. Let me tell you how it breaks down in reality. So when I'm actually working with an organization, I said, okay, hey, our goal is $50,000. So our goal, insert here, whatever your goal is, we're going to get four major donors and sponsors to give $5,000 each. And that will get us to $20,000. So that now you're segmenting based on the donor amount. Then I'm going to get 15 past fundraisers who are going to raise $1,000 each for $15,000. That's going to segment based on a member type. I want to get 50 past scholarship donors to give $200 each, $10,000. I'm going to segment based on a member interest. I'm going to get 100 past one-time donors to give $50 each. That's based on $5,000. That's going to be donor frequency. Are you seeing how that's going to actually get you to your goal? Right? And it's not just put the $50,000 out there and then hope for the best. Make a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Right? So I created something. I think that y'all have the link here. Maybe you'll drop this link and maybe we'll show you at the end. But I have an actual download and a workbook where you can actually build out your 4Cs and your segmentation strategies. Right? I got fill in the blank section. We updated it. If y'all with me, been with me for a while, we updated it. Okay. You can put things in here. You can actually track and build for the long game because that's so incredibly crucial. Okay. Okay, perfect. They dropped the link. Let me keep going. All right. Next. Well, that was a lot. Y'all still with me? If you're with me, I want to see it in the chat. Can I see it in the chat? We just talked about a lot. Who's with me? Kelly's with me. Who else?
They're
I
here, they're
love
with
it.
you.
Alan's here. Sean is here. April's here. I love it. Okay. All right. Let's keep the party going because we got a couple more things to get to. We're gonna do 30 minutes of Q&A. Let me see, 15 minutes. Okay, great. Let's keep going. So now I want you. Okay, good. Thank you, Alexis. I love that. All right. Mobilize your supporters. So this is where you assemble your dream team. This is so important to me, y'all. See so many people when I'm like, okay, it's time to actually bring people in and invite your supporters to join with you. They're like, well, I ain't got nobody. And I'm like, what? No, they said I literally have people. I'm like, okay, it's time to reach out, and they look at me with a blank face, and I'm like, this is your fierce advocates, your champions, your superstar volunteers. Everybody got a volunteer where I'm like, you know that person who will just ride it after you no matter what you say? They come to your mind, right? Social influencers, thought leaders. This is your dream team that you need to assemble and bring together because now is the time to anchor it. And y'all, notice how we got here after we did all the other different things. We set our actual intention. We set a real concrete goal. We know the people that we're going to actually reach out to. Now it's time to actually bring them together and mobilize them. Before you launch, you got to make it easy. You got to make it fun, right? My big thing that I'll say here is create a toolkit. I still create toolkits. Create a toolkit for your people, right? A step-by-step guide they can copy and paste, plug and play, right? And don't lose momentum throughout. That's so incredibly important. I always say you got to make your own momentum. So we know that you're going to get people at the beginning and you're going to get people at the end. But what are you doing throughout to keep and spark people's attention? And that's how you're going to rely on your people. Update your supporters, right? Acknowledge them. And please, 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 what is Sabrina? What her name is? Please, please, please listen.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter. Direct people to one CTA. One CTA. One call to action. I see so many people who say, donate, volunteer, sign my yearbook, give me your social security. What's your blood type? Like, I can't do all this. Direct people to one thing. That's why whenever we're launching a campaign, I give them one landing page. One landing page. And when they get to that landing page, you're going to see all the different colors of the wind, okay? You're going to see all them there. We're going to give you all the different opportunities. But people are going to get confused. Give them, I always say people want to help. Remember, you are a bridge. So be a bridge. Get them to the other side of the destination, okay? And then lastly is sharing your story. So I'm gonna share a little bit of my own personal story. I remember 2 years ago, I was invited to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I guess that was formerly known as, now that it's the Gates Foundation. But I remember being invited to their Greater Giving Summit, and I was so nervous to be in that room. I said, "Oh my Lord, like, do I belong here?" Imposter syndrome was on 1,000 at that point, okay? And maybe some of y'all align with that. But I remember the entire campaign, the entire time, we kept talking about equity in our space and equity in philanthropy. Because a few years before that, 2020, is when the murder of George Floyd happened. And at that time, companies pledged over $50 billion to Black communities. 5 years later, now today, not even 5% of that funding has seen the communities. Okay. So at this conference, we kept talking about how do we have equity in philanthropy? How are we using our platforms? Y'all, I was so nervous. A little old me raised my hand. Okay. And I said, hello, excuse me. I know it's my first time here. Mind you, I'm sitting with CEOs, foundation leaders, people who are leading big organizations, multinational campaigns. I didn't have no title at that point. And I said, y'all, in this room, we represent billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. If we wanted to make a change, we could make a change. And we know the stats. We know that Black-led nonprofits are only receiving 1% to 2% of philanthropic dollars globally. And more than that, we know 53% of Black-led nonprofits rely on 1 to 2 major donors. 31% operate on budgets of less than $30,000. 44% of Black-led nonprofits have no staff members, have no full-time staff members. What can we do? We can change visibility. We can talk about who is seen and who is not seen. We can prompt donor. We can do so many different things. We have the technology. We have the funding. We have a plan. We can make a change. So what did I do? I called together the CEOs of all these other different companies. Oh, that's Ann May right there. See, come on, Candid in the house, right? I brought us all together, and I said, y'all, we're not going to leave this room until we figure this out. And for those of you who don't know, August is Black Philanthropy Month. And I said, we have this a massive opportunity in the middle of August. Why don't we all come together, contribute real marketing dollars, contribute real spend, contribute real time to Black-led organizations? And that is when BackBlack was born. A lot of people think, oh, you need to have this massive idea from the heavens and you got to get this thing. You need an 8 point bullet point plan. No, I saw a need and I decided to take action because that is what a change maker does. And if you're on this call today, you are a change maker. You saw a need and you said, I'm going to step into action. When you see a problem, you get going. When you see a problem, you make a plan. That is why you're on this call today. You're not here just learning how to raise another strategy. You're learning how you can save your community. You're learning how you can propel your mission forward, right? And that's exactly what I did. And in our first campaign, I'm doing exactly what I told y'all to do. This is the very email that I sent. Okay. Like I said, I practice what I preach. Okay. I literally sent this email to all my supporters. I highlighted things. Okay. I have a toolkit. I said, click on this toolkit. And I need you to do this thing for me tomorrow at 10 a.m. You see? This strategy, and this is another thing that I'm realizing, and then I'll go and tell you that same strategy that I applied when I first started that organization, when I first worked at Volo Kids, I am still doing it today. You might think that whatever level you are at right now, well, this ain't nothing. No. I need you to own it right now and step into your fullness right now because you have no idea what's coming next. I have no idea that me trying to raise $5,000 is me now leading $5 million plus for an organization. Where you are now is going to help lead to your next. But you have to lean in fully. Your idea is not small. The size of your budget has nothing to do with the size of your belief. Okay? Our first campaign, we ended up getting over 14,000 website views right away within a week. Okay? I got the Squarespace to prove it. 14,000 page views, right? Over 1 million unique impressions from our campaign video that we did. We're the first ranking on Google. If you type in BackBlack on Google, you're going to see ACDC and me. Okay? But what are the stats that actually matter? Our first campaign, we supported over 770 organizations. We raised over $1.3 million for Black led nonprofits. And we launched a new movement in just 5 weeks. Our first campaign was launched in 5 weeks. 5 weeks. So what do you have to, what you saying? So many of us are so stuck. We're worried about taking a move. We're worried about we don't need you to scale the mountain. We need you to take the next step. Where did I take the beginning? Take a step and watch how the universe will step with you. Watch how the universe will step with you. If you click my link, I don't think we have much time right now. But one thing I wanted to say, y'all, this year, for this year's campaign, we are now giving over $50,000 away to Black-led nonprofits. So if you feel like you fit, and even if you don't fit, scan this link, join our list, and then send it to somebody. If you don't fit in this criteria, then be an ally. Because what did I say at the beginning, right? Even if it doesn't apply to you, we all gonna go somewhere together. And that's one thing I'll also say. We are running one race, okay? It's the human race. It's not about white, black, brown. It doesn't matter. We are one race. It's the human race. So if I succeed, you succeed. If you succeed, they succeed, right? We are all doing our part in this job and this experiment called life, okay? So yes, we are donating over $50,000 to Black-led nonprofits. I encourage you to scan this QR code to join it into our list, and then you'll get all the information that you need. But send it to somebody else if it doesn't apply to you. Share it with somebody else. We all have to do our part, okay? We're about to almost at time, and I want to make sure I get to some Q&A. I don't have time to share this whole video, but if you join my little link, I have a video in here. We're not gonna do it now. But what we did, I'm so excited because we put together an entire campaign where we brought together nonprofits all across the country. We shared their stories, and this was the spark. This was a spark. We're leaning fully into storytelling. We just did a storytelling spotlight on an organization in New York. That's our highest performing post by far on social media, right? Got over 10,000 views because we're leaning into the story, right? I'm telling y'all, I don't tell y'all to do things that I don't do. I don't tell y'all to do things that I'm seeing it work, and I'm putting it into practice. Are y'all tracking with me? Are y'all tracking with me? Okay, let's keep going. So, how do you light a spark? One is capture. Remember what we said? Start with the spark, capture the attention of your audience, right? Video, show, performance, media, whatever it is, start with a spark. Then, CTA, like we said before, call to action. What do you actually want each person to do? Once you get people connected to your story, then they will know how they can help you soar, right? And then consistency. Consistency is key, okay? Y'all, I got so many examples. I remember one organization in particular I was working with. Child, they had been around since 1988, okay? They had posted on social media, I promise you, well over 600 times. And nothing was taken off. Okay. We had a social media workshop that we did. And I was like, why aren't you putting more hooks on your videos? And why aren't you getting people to CTAs? That video took them up. They are now have over 15,000 followers on their page. They're like blowing up. Why do I say that? Because so many of us, we post one time and we're like, well, Meta don't like us. And Facebook, I knew Facebook was against nonprofits. And my sister, cousin, brother said, don't even be on social media. Same thing with fundraising. Well, I did ask and nobody donated. I told them, here's a check. Do you believe in what you're doing? Because if you believe in what you're doing, I need you to show up every single day. When you think about a garden, When you're planting a seed, when you're planting a garden, when you're planting a flower, right? You don't just say, okay, well, I planted the seed and it like do what it do. You need to come every single day with your water. You need to come with the sun. You need to come and till that soil until that flower pops up the ground. Actually, when you think about a tree, right, most of the work happens underground. Most of the work happens underground. You might think that nobody sees you. You are just doing your work underground. Your roots are getting planted. And guess what? When you pop out from that ground, no one's going to be able to bring you down. When your tree finally sprouts, nothing's gonna be able to bring you down because you did the work. And that's what this is. That's what this that the community is. Your community are the roots. Your community are the roots. So now when your tree gets on that ground, nothing will take you down. My name is Floyd Jones. Thank you for being here today. Y'all, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for your time. I want to jump into some Q&A. Come on now.
Yes, yes, yes. So you kind of talked about this already because you saw the donor fatigue question. So I'll just read it. How do you deal with donor fatigue? I find I get dozens of requests every day to donate to organizations on social media. I fear that many people will start scrolling past rather than looking into the organization.
So I think I heard two questions in this. The first part was donor fatigue, and then the other part was like social media. Can you say that again?
Yeah, it says I find that I get dozens of requests every day to donate to organizations on social media. I fear that many,
Ah.
yeah, so I fear that many people will start scrolling past rather than looking into the organization.
So I don't think that every single ask should be to donate either. I think that the ask, like, for example, one of the things that we're actually doing that I really, really love is that we actually have a budget around storytelling. And for those of you who don't know BackBlack, again, you'll check us out. But we are a directory of, there's now over 1,500 Black-led orgs in our community, right? And so we're not necessarily saying, hey, donate to us. We're saying donate to these organizations or check out these organizations, right? And so I find that our job is to shine a light, right? So we'll do a storytelling piece on an organization, and maybe they're not getting a link to donate, but you go into the stats and we see all these organizations, the views to their social media page have skyrocketed, right? So many people are now going to their page, they're sharing their page, they're learning more about their page, right? What did I say before? At the bottom of that pyramid was the prospects. And I said, no, no, no. Each prospect is a promise. Now you have people who are, so now your job is you lit the spark. Now it's a share the story, right? And so how do you share the story? You optimize your page, right? You already have your storytelling pieces ready to go. So they can click on another thing and say, oh, what is this organization about? Or, oh, let me learn more about this organization. Or, oh, let me go and figure out what they're talking about, right? You optimize your link in bio that says, join our newsletter. And you optimize your LinkedIn bio that says, want to learn more about this issue that we're eradicating, right? And you encourage them to keep on clicking, right? It's your job to set the different things and set the different tools, but then you got to track what you put in place, right? And see what's working. Because remember, all of this is a fail if you're not leading them through those four C's, right? It's all about getting the four C's. And so to answer that question, they're going to scroll and just keep on scrolling if they're not actually bought into your story. You got them with a quick boost bump, you got them with a quick spark, but now you got to go deeper and actually dive in deeper with your people.
I love it. I totally agree. I know a lot of what we hear from foundations even is that they're not sure of the story or that people aren't telling it the way they
Mm,
see it. So they'll see something and say, "Oh, I love these this organization's work," but when they see it on paper, it's not the same. So social media
mm,
gives you the opportunity to show and to have
mm,
campaigns. I love to hear things like, the sports pictures. I've heard, literacy organization. What was your favorite book growing up? And everybody gets to
mm.
participate, the board and all of those things. And speaking of board, we got to have a board question. Someone mentioned that their board they tried to do one of these P2P fundraiser a few years ago and not one board member participated. Any
Oh,
suggestions
Lord.
on getting right, getting them engaged? And someone said each year we only get one or two as well, trying to energize them. So yeah, give us a little some board help there.
Yeah, one, I want to say call me, but hey, you may not all be able to call me. But I always say you have to inspect what you expect. Inspect what you expect. Let's dive deeper. If your expectation is for your board members to raise, and remember, a lot of board members aren't fundraisers, right? Not people are signing up and being like, I want to, I love, you have had training. You come into events like this, right? That's why I'm saying this is not about fundraising. It's about belonging, right? So if you expect your people to fundraise, how are you helping them get to the other side? How are you being that bridge? Are you training them how to fundraise? Are you giving them opportunities? Are you giving them toolkits that say, hey, please copy and paste this and send this to 5 people? You can do 5 people. I believe you. You can do 5 people. I believe in you, right? Like, coach them through it. They are not fundraisers. They're not working for you, right? They are volunteers. So you need to actually show them where they want to go. People want to help. I always say people want to help. They just need to figure out how. They need direction. They need to be let. They need to. You need to let them know where to go, right? So that's what your job is, I would say.
That is a great answer. And we do have, I think Carla might drop these links, but we have a couple of board classes, and one of our board classes is about fundraising. And we
Mm,
acknowledge that if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a board contract, an agreement, something where people understand this is what I'm supposed to do, and if you don't help them get there, like Floyd was saying, then it's a lot to ask, right? So it's
hmm.
part of your job as either executive director, board chair, to set them up. What are you good at? What is it that you came here to do? What are your talents? What are your treasures? And then kind of go from there.
Period.
Yeah. Yes.
Period. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Yvonne. So
We
first of
don't
all,
have that
two
duet.
things. All right. Trey said, is your board board? Come on, somebody. Is your board board? But then also, Jody said, yes, I am doing that in coaching, and they still don't do it. My question now is two things. One, are they the right board members? Because that's a big thing. Are they the right board members? Because guess what? We're not in the business of force people to be somewhere they don't want to be. Life is so short. Okay? Life is so short. I had a family member and a friend so close to me pass away, right? And I was like, when that happened, I was like, I'm not doing anything just to do it anymore. For what? If your people are still not fundraising, if they're still not engaging and you're coaching them and you're training them and you're working with them, do they want to be there? Do they want to be there? Two, I would also question, how am I showing up in this space? Am I just asking them, I said 500. I said five. Why are you still not doing 500? Are you bringing them down? Right? We, in psychology, you always have to say, you have to praise what you want. Energy flows where attention goes. Energy flows where attention goes. So what are you putting the attention on? Are you saying, well, you still didn't bring in this money, so what are we talking about? Or are you encouraging the actions? Are you saying, wow, I just noticed that you called in 5 of your people. How did you do that? What encouraged you to do that? Even if they didn't give. I noticed that you shared our post on social media. Oh my God, tell me what? What compelled you? What compelled you? That's what Yvonne said. We have to talk about it's not just about the result, it's about the action. And that's another reason why some of us are stuck in our lives. We keep saying, well, I'm not at this goal yet. I'm not at where I want to be yet. My organization on $1 million. Are you taking the right actions? And are you praising yourself every step of the way? Are you saying, I'm so happy that I showed up? I'm so happy that I made that outreach. I'm so happy that I reached out to that donor, right? It's not just about the result. Because what did we say before? People first, and the profit will come. Community first, and then the currency will come. People are your partners, not your piggy banks. Come on, somebody. People are your
Absolutely.
partners and not your piggy banks. So stop treating them that way. So I would say for Jody and for anybody else who resonates, don't just go to them asking them for what they can do. Ask them about how can we help you become a higher version of yourself? Because maybe it's not on this board. Maybe the board's not where you're supposed to be. Maybe you're supposed to be just a volunteer. Maybe you're supposed to be an ambassador, right? But that's your job. You're air traffic control. Come on, somebody.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have an anonymous attendee that said something I have a hard time with is continuous fundraising. I feel like it's easier to raise money if you're about to shut down or you have a big project versus not having a big project or reason, but still needing funds to
Mm,
support programs.
so good. Yes, I mean that's real and that's true. That's why recurring giving is important. I wish I could call people up, but Lori, if you guys follow me or like if you're on my newsletter or anything, I talk to my people. I'm like so engaged and I want to see you succeed. Lori messaged me a few weeks ago talking about she had an incredible amount of people in her monthly giving program. If you feel comfortable to Lori, drop it in the chat. How many people are now in your monthly giving? I think it's like it was wild. I was like, huh? Wait, what? But now they have recurring revenue every single month that they can rely on, right? So put your energy into things that are going to come back, right? So maybe it's you're building a monthly giving program, right? Or maybe you're what is the word? Decentralizing the fundraising. So for example, you might be thinking, okay, I got to plan this campaign and I got to do this thing. How about you build an advisory community, right? How about you build one thing I love is a board, okay? I love a good board. I have a paperclip board, I have a city board, I have a yearbook board. I got a board for something. Everybody, why? Because you want people to continue growing, right? So that's one. But then two, now it's their job. This person's job is they're going to be planning events all year. This person's job is you're going to be helping us get more peer-to-peer fundraisers going, right? It shouldn't all be on your shoulders to do the fundraising. And what did I say at the beginning? If you're the only one going, is it really a movement or is it just about me? You know what I'm saying? That's why I asked in the beginning. What I tell y'all, listen, nothing I say is random. Okay. One thing I will do, I'm gonna encourage you, but I'm also gonna equip you. So I don't give empty words. Okay. At the beginning of this call, what did I say? Your five C's. The fifth C was community. Who is going with you? I don't launch anything. One thing I tell my team every day: we don't start something unless we can sustain it. We don't start what we can't sustain. Meaning, we don't start something unless we know that there are other people who are going with us, right? So the same thing for your board, the same thing for your fundraising, all the different things. And I also, this is controversial, but this is something that I believe in. I have something called the six-figure rule. I don't start another revenue stream or start another fundraising program unless that one thing is already reaching six figures.
Ooh.
Who, listen, I don't do it. Why? Because, and also, unless we're actually taking home six figures. I'm talking about post taxes and all that different stuff. Why do I say
Mhm.
that? Because once something hits six figures, chances are you can now you can hire somebody else to run it on their own. But I have so many people. Thank you, Angela. I know. Yeah, thank you. Don't have too many irons in the fire. I have so many people who say I got monthly giving and I got peer to peer and I got my individual donors and we're gonna do a gala and we're gonna do and it's a one person team.
Yep.
And I'm like, you wonder why you're not further along because you're trying to do 85 different things. So yeah, I
See?
haven't put that on social media. But if you like that, tell somebody. But I have my personal six figure. Unless this stream is bringing in six figures, we either need to figure out why it's not bringing six figures. We need to drop it, right? Because if we can't scale this thing, we're not doing it. We don't start, but we can't sustain.
I love it. Sarah would love to hear about after you've been doing an annual peer-to-peer event for a while, how do you keep the momentum and excitement and also balance take with scaling the growth of donors and volunteers? Kind of what you were talking about. Like, how do you kind of do both things at the same time? Grow
Well,
and scale.
for a while, I always prioritized participation goal over the number goal. After a while, I was like, I'm not gonna say, like, yes, I have a fundraising goal and the fundraising goals are good, but I know that we're gonna hit the fundraising goal if we have a participation goal. So my
Right.
thing is I'm always focusing on building up more fundraisers for the campaign. How many more fundraisers can we bring into the campaign, right? And then how many I would also give out prizes for people who could recruit other people in, right? My job, listen, we give a master class, we're talking about fundraising, we're talking about life. If you think it's your job to do everything, you're on the fast track to burnout. I realized early on in my career, building a business, building BackBlack, I was like, I'm actually not supposed to do all these things. That's why the first person that I hired was an operations manager. And I was like, I realized I light the fire. My job is to be the spark. My calling is to be the spark. I'm gonna bring the people in, but I'm gonna need people to help us get them where they need to go. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? When you understand your role and you understand what you're uniquely designed and outfitted to do, everything becomes easier. Nobody was meant to do all the different things. Nobody was meant to do that. What is
Yes,
your
absolutely.
role? I always say alignment determines your assignment. Alignment determines your assignment. When I was looking at spreadsheets and I was looking at the data, I'm actually miserable and I'm not happy and I feel like take me out. And guess what? When I'm operating in that space, my mission is now not being served. My people are now not being served, right? Your job is to be a light. And some people, your light is spreadsheets. Some people, your light is launching a fundraising campaign. Some people, your light is being on a stage, right? But you need to find your light. But you're not, I have my ring light here, okay? This is me when I'm doing a bajillion jobs. You can't fully see me. You can't fully see me. You're not actually getting the fullness of who I am. You can hear me. He's doing a. But when I turn my light on,
Hey.
when I turn my light on, so my job and the thing I want you to work away with is turn your light on. Because when you shine, you pave the way for everything else around you to shine. Okay? Turn the light on.
Okay, okay. Wait, I appreciate that so much because the executive director that I work with, I always make fun of her because she has the vision, she has the passion, but she's definitely needs someone to organize her. And that
Yes.
happens a lot. That happens a lot with people
Yes.
who are really like, all right, I'm about it. I get it. Oh yes, we're gonna do this and that. And then you're like, oh my goodness, look at your desktop. I can't. So I can only
Like,
imagine.
all the different tabs. I'm like, I have
Yes.
a new rule. When my computer just stops because of all the tabs, I'm like, you know what? We're not even gonna restore these. We're gonna just
We're
start
just
over
gonna, it shuts
because
down. It shuts down.
that's
But yeah,
life
so
giving you a sign. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, clear your inbox. My
please.
ops person, my executive assistant, I was like, listen, the number one job is if I never have to check my email again, we're gonna be happy. Like I want this inbox to go to inbox zero. You
Woo.
you operate in your gifts. Operate in your
Yes,
gifts. Come on
yes,
now. I love that.
absolutely
Thank y'all
yes.
for all the affirmation in the chat, y'all. We here. Okay. What else we
Everyone's
got?
like, yes. This organization is $600,000 short. Do we tell people we need it to keep providing service one, service two, etc.? So yeah, how do they get people excited about we're just kind of short right now?
That's a good question. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be like we're $600,000 short. That's a
Mhm.
conversation for your board, in my opinion. Like that's a conversation for your board, your leadership. But you can be transparent that hey, we have things that we need, we have things that we need to do, and get them mobilized around that. I also wouldn't
Mhm.
just say we have $600,000 that we need, and I'm stressed. Like because people can feel that too. Like you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like I really love that someone said I'm operating my calling because I feel that. Like I got a very clear understanding that I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. And when I am what did I say? Alignment determines your assignment, right? Now that I'm in alignment, I am helping you. I have a very clear path in which you can go. You know what I'm saying? If you are feeling stressed, if you're feeling frantic, people will feel that energy. And that's not going to encourage them to give. That's going to be like, "Well, am I sowing in the shaky ground? Like if I give now, are you still gonna be around next year?" So what I would
Right.
do is break it up. Is my screen still sharing?
No, mine is sharing. I just have
Okay,
questions.
okay,
Okay. Do you
okay.
want to show us something? You want
Well,
to show us something?
I was gonna show them. I was gonna go back to
Go ahead.
Okay, let me take this one. I was gonna go back to this slide.
Hmm.
When you are stressed out about your goal, I go back to here. You know what I'm saying? Go back to how many major donors am I going to be reaching out to? How many fundraisers am I going to be reaching out to? And give each segment a goal until you reach that goal. You know what I'm saying? Then that way you're putting people on a path. And when things feel shaky and scary, this is where you lock in as a leader. You know what I'm saying? This is where you lock in as a leader. You remember, you are a bridge. So if you're scared and stressed out, don't leave people half off the bridge now. And don't lead them halfway through the bridge. Take them to the other side. Take them to
Yeah,
the
don't
other
go over the
side.
bridge, y'all.
We can't. What do they say? London Bridge is falling down. Not
Yes.
today.
No, 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 no. Melinda said, can we talk about the conversion of elderly donors to peer-to-peer and social media donors? What does that look like? I once sat on the phone with a donor to set up a Facebook fundraiser, but I'm just one staff person and that's not sustainable.
If you have to sit down with the person and help them set a fundraiser on Facebook, that's not their calling. That's not their ministry. Okay,
That's not it.
tell them to send out a letter Tell them to pick up the phone. That's fine. Remember, this is not about people coming to where you are. This is about you meeting your people where they are. You're meeting your people where they are at. You're not saying, okay, hi, we're gonna have our Facebook sign. No, your time is better spent saying, hey, your goal is raising $5,000. How you want to do it? What's gonna light you up today? What's gonna inspire you today? And then someone said, oh, I got my company. Oh, I can do peer to peer. I can do my letter. I can hop on the phone. I got my sisters and then my bingo. Maybe they the
Right.
bingo ministry. That's fine. Go, let them go where they need to go. There's a role for
Agree.
everybody. Okay.
Agree. I just went and picked up my mother this morning early for an appointment, and she's the walking community. So she's like waving at everybody. I'm like, Ma, get in the
Come
car.
on.
Like, why you know everybody? What is going on? But guess what?
Uh,
If I ask her to, raise money or whatever it is, she's gonna talk to every single person in that walking community.
mhm,
So yeah,
mhm,
she
mhm.
has her spots.
We just made it to the next round of South by Southwest. Oh, vote for me! I didn't drop
Yes,
a
I
link,
saw
but
that. I saw that
follow
on your
me
LinkedIn.
somewhere because I got to
Okay.
vote. But the reason why I say that is because every time I'm in one of these things where people need to vote, I know all the aunties that I'm gonna call because they all are in their WhatsApp community and their WhatsApp ministry. And I'm like, I already know I got this on lock because they're gonna call everybody. They're gonna call the pastor, they're gonna
Right.
call their sister cousin, they're gonna call
Yep.
everybody. Anyhow.
Yep. Yeah, in fact, wait, you said WhatsApp. Somebody had a question about using WhatsApp that I'm not going to find. But essentially, yeah, how would you use WhatsApp? And I'll see if I can find it too.
Okay, hold
How-
on. I gotta, someone asked me about this. I gotta drop this in this link chat. Here's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
link.
what you got?
Let's vote for me, y'all. That's
All
South by
right.
Southwest. Help me bring this to Austin. Okay, so the question was how to use WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Yeah, like, well, how would you suggest using WhatsApp?
I mean,
Oh,
I
here we go.
think you're using WhatsApp the same way that you're using WhatsApp the same way that you're using text or you're using email, right? Like use it
Set
as a
up.
method to bring people in, right? And get them into the thing that you want them to get into. Not necessarily, I don't think WhatsApp is a fundraising platform. So use it as a thing to
No.
bring the people to where they need to go.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would say because I have a lot of family in other countries, and my family's in other
Hmm.
countries, so that's usually how
Hmm.
we connect, just because it's easier for them to use. So we do that. All
Hmm.
right, we got that one. Yeah, they were asking for best practices on WhatsApp. All right, let's go back to the. I have even been told that grant funding is getting more challenging to get. Like we know people are
It is.
using government funding, so grant funding. Do you recommend other sources, or how to know what sources would be most likely to be helpful? Let me just pause and just say this, that we're
Mm-hmm.
constantly talking about diversifying revenue, and revenue
Hmm.
can be selling something. So a lot of nonprofits are like, oh, wait, what do you mean sell? What is it, t-shirts? Is it your curriculum? Is it that you're a speaker? And that goes back to your nonprofit. So keep in mind that you can also sell things and make money. But Floyd, what would you say?
No, I mean 100%. I always say you're a nonprofit, you're still a business, right? You have to understand what is your business model, right? What is
Mhm.
your business model? Business model, our biggest revenue isn't, we don't even, I mean, we do get individual donations, but I'd rather focus on getting individuals to donate to the organizations that we're serving, right? Our biggest revenue generator is earned revenue, right? Like we have a whole earned revenue portion of our business where we're working with brands, we're working with corporations, we're working with foundations who want services, right? Like that's how we show up. And I knew that I have in all my businesses, right? Like I know that I have to be operating in my energy. I have to be, right? That's why I'm a speaker. I'm only going to be effective if I am operating from my energy, if I'm operating on the thing that is aligned for me, right? I knew for Back Black and what we're building, I was like, okay, I'm seeing a clear gap here. I'm seeing Black-led organizations need support. I'm seeing that organizations want to hit their CSR goals. I'm seeing people, there are some people who want to help, but there's a disconnect in how to help them, right? We are going to be that connection point. We're going to be that middle ground. We're going to be the thing that gets point A to point B, right? And then we charge for that accordingly, right? That's okay. Maybe your bread and butter is individual donations, right? But you have to figure out with every single thing. Come back to my 6 figure rule. What we said before, right? Can it get you to your 6 figures? Can it get you beyond that, right? If not, consider doing something else. That's okay. But you have to figure out, and also don't jump from point A to point B too fast. A lot of times people start something and they're like, well, did you try? Right? Like apply some of these
Mhm.
strategies in here so you can grow and scale. But That first campaign that we did at Bolo, $30,000, right? Which I was amazed by. But now it's raising well over $200,000 for them annually. Annually, right? You have to figure out what is your niche, what's your zone of genius, right? And go and grow from there. And some of y'all might not be in charge of your development operations too. Some of y'all might have a boss who reports to a boss, and they're telling you you still have to find your flow. If your boss is telling you you got to do it this way, this is how it's always been done, but it's not your flow, it's not going to fit. What they say, try to put a square peg in a round hole, right? You have to do the thing that fits for you. So find your flow, and you're going to watch all the energy come in for you at that point, okay?
Absolutely. Are there specific tools or software you recommend for managing and tracking peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns?
Oh
And
my
I
God,
know
all of
people
them
may, yeah, I was gonna say
go
people may
to
throw some in the chat too.
right. Put them in the chat. But also, if you go to BackBlack, our website, and you type "get involved," you're gonna see all of our partners, right? And we have partnered with over 15 different fundraising platforms. And we do that for a reason because I don't believe, like, everybody has their own unique flavor, right? Like, everybody has their own unique thing that they do. So find what works for you, right? I don't have one over the other. It also depends on what stage of your organization you're at, right? If you're a free
Mhm.
organization, I mean, if you're a small or a growing, graphics organization, maybe your budget isn't over $100,000 or something like that. You want to look for something that's free, right? You want to look for something that's free. If you're emerging and you're growing, then you want to look for a platform that can have a good CRM, right? And can detail your donors. If you have a bunch of individual donors, right? So go from there. Okay, Morayo, I love that. Come on. You said that they give us a little breakdown. That's otter. I love that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the otters are ottering.
Oh,
So
they're ottering. Oh, yeah. Oh,
they're ottering.
everybody's
They were all
ottering.
breaking apart at 30 minutes. I was like, y'all okay? But they're back. They're fine. So Kendra says, what is three baby steps that someone who is new to fundraising as a board member slash staff member, we love that, can take after setting intentions and planning? So three little baby steps after
So
setting
after you
intentions.
set your intention and you set your goal, because you know where you're trying to go as an organization, right? The first thing that I would do is I would figure out, okay, hey, this is my goal. Now I need to take ownership. I need to take stock of who is in my audience, right? So that's where segmentation comes into play, right? Figure out, okay, hey, I got to raise $50,000 or I got to raise $1,000, whatever my goal is. So what am I working with? Who's in my audience right now, right? How many people are recurring givers? How many people are one-time givers? How many people are major donors? Who is in your audience, right? And then you make a plan for each of those segments. Okay? You set your goal, you segment your audience, and you make a plan for each of those segments because why? We're trying to get them to those four C's. Okay?
Love it. Mary mentioned storytelling, and there have been some responses to regarding storytelling. We work with adult survivors of child sexual abuse. I hear storytelling all the time, but I'm not sure it's the right tool for us, for confidentiality, for other reasons, thoughts. And so people are giving thoughts. I was just curious what you thought as well when you hear
Yeah,
that.
I would look into trauma informed storytelling. My good friend wrote a book on this. I cannot remember her name. I'm like, it's my good friend. I don't remember. Send me if you send me an email, floyd@floydjones.co, I can send you her book. But trauma informed storytelling, also consent, right? Some people may also want to share their story. And if you get consent from them, then you can bring them along in what you're doing. But I would not just say, oh, I don't know. Maybe they don't want to be. Don't be afraid. Don't. Some people want to
Abs-
share their story. You know what I'm saying? Especially if your organization helped get to the other side, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah, I would think about that. But also just making sure that the story is not centered on you and what you're doing. It's centered on them, right? Also, there's
Mhm.
equitable practices. Like I always pay organizations or we always provide them some type of resource as well for their story. We never say like, look at this most recent campaign that we're doing. We paid for professional grade quality content. We built the campaign for them, and we always give them the assets when the campaign is over. We said you can use all these assets yourself for your storytelling and what you're doing, right? So just be equitable in what you're doing, because if you're going to benefit or you're all going to benefit, make sure that they are as well.
Absolutely. And we had audience members say, look at the stories also data. So rather than having personal stories, you may want to have some data, like this is what
Yes,
happens, this is what happens.
exactly.
And then someone else, an ex-journalist mentioned centering joy created by the work. So
Mm-hmm,
what are the good
mm-hmm,
things that have
mm-hmm,
happened? And these are all really great answers. I would say also when it comes to storytelling, you might be surprised at what Floyd mentioned, that someone may want to tell their story because it's just that important to
mm-hmm,
them that they're on the other side. And it may not be every
mm-hmm,
detail, but it's like this is what life looks like now that
mm-hmm,
we're on the other side. So, and
mm-hmm,
those are, don't love trauma porn, or people looking for like, oh, this is so sad and terrible, but
mm-hmm,
just like the testimony, that's the great part,
mm-hmm,
to really see what people
mm-hmm,
can get through. So definitely
mm-hmm.
want to do that. Okay, we have a couple more questions we can do. How do you feel stay authentic and personal when growing your supporter base?
I would say if you're not authentic, you won't grow your supporter base.
Right.
That's what I would say to that.
Me
You just
too.
gotta stay out. That's the only that's gonna bring them in. And also focus on what I would say focus on. That's also why your data is so important. Like you have to remember when you're sharing your story, or even when you're visible online, anything, it's really not about you anymore, right? Like think about the people that you follow. You follow them because you're getting something out of it, right? You're getting something out of it. You support an organization because you care about eradicating that issue. You care about eradicating that problem. You have a personal connection to that issue, right? It's not about you. You're, again, a vessel. You're a bridge getting people to the other side. So you stay focused on that, you'll get there.
I love it. I love it. So the other thing that we want to make sure people know is what's coming up next. So I think Carla has some links for this. So we want to make sure you know what's coming. Donor advised funds are huge. We didn't talk about that too much, Floyd, but that's something that's coming up next week. So I would really suggest people tune in. And then we have something with disability belongs coming up as well. So I wanted to make sure I show those things. Also, if you wanted to get on the Candid community, again, totally up to you, but we would suggest, building a community there if you would like. Let's see. Sean says, I have a CRM that can take payments. I have a website donation page, and I utilize Give Butter for donation processing. I'm always unsure of which to focus on, the Give Butter page or the website. Hopefully, this all makes sense to you, Floyd. Do I cut out Give Butter and just collect donations with the CRM, or keep using Give Butter? You
I would
thinking?
personally recommend that you keep using GiveButter because GiveButter can do a lot of those things. I actually used to work at GiveButter. I was employee number 6 there, fun fact. But that platform can do all those things. It can be your CRM. Don't fall into that trap of doing all the things, by the way, because that will confuse you. Find one system, one platform that's your source of truth, and be able to build from there.
All right, we are
Yes,
saying
I
thank you,
love
thank you,
Zephy. I
thank
see some of me
you.
in the chat. I love Zephy as well. We partner with all of them.
Oh,
So
all
thank you,
right, yeah,
everybody. Yes, give
thank
us
you.
feedback. Let them know if you like me, child. Thank you.
Yes, yes, we might have him back if you like him.
Right,
No, thank you
right.
so much, Floyd. As I said, I love practical information, and I love your energy. So thank you so much. We're all gonna go take a nap now and go
All
fundraise.
right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so much. You all have a good one, okay?
All right, everyone, have a good one.